The original Range Rover Evoque wasn't the industry's first small luxury SUV. In fact, it wasn't even the first small luxury SUV from Land Rover, but that first Evoque was still very much a trailblazer. When the Evoque debuted in 2011, a stylish small luxury SUV wasn't really a thing. The BMW X1 had the awkward proportions of a teenager that just went through a growth spurt, and the Mercedes GLK was interesting, but not exactly what you'd call pretty. But the Evoque changed all that. It proved that a luxury SUV could both be small and stylish. And thanks to that pioneering, there are now dozens of like-minded vehicles on the market. So given the success of the first Evoque, what's there to do for an encore? Well, make a better version of it, obviously. This is the all-new Range Rover Evoque, and it looks exactly the same as the old one. In the same way a pancake looks exactly like a waffle. They're similar, yes, but if you look closely, there are some significant differences. The headlights are thinner for a more modern look. The door handles hide within the bodywork for more aerodynamic shape, and the rear now has a flush tailgate design with taillights that seem to wrap around the whole thing. Land Rover even went to the trouble to push the Evoque's wheels further out, resulting in shorter overhangs for a more planted overall look. And it's more of the same in here. Everything is familiar, but just better. Instead of gauges, the new Evoque has a television screen. The climate controls have also been replaced with a virtual interface, and ditto for the rearview mirror. And the main infotainment screen is a clever design that sits flush when not in use and then wakes up when you need it. There's also a lot more attention to detail. These door cards, for example, are intended to be more of a sculpture than just a place to rest your arm. There's more storage for all your things, and the available materials are just beautiful. And that wheelbase stretch I mentioned earlier has resulted in a roomier cabin, so you no longer have to remove your legs to sit in the back seat of the Evoque. Of course, the new Evoque still wears the Range Rover badge, which means it has to be equal parts comfortable to drive and unstoppable off-road. But is it? Let's start with that last bit and work our way forward. Here I am on a mountain in Greece, and the Evoque is taking me up it without a problem. In fact, it's not even breaking a sweat. Like all modern Land Rovers, this new Evoque has all sorts of electronic wizardry working in the background to keep it moving. But this new model does have an interesting new tech feature for off-roading. It's called Clear Sight Ground View, and it stitches together a delayed feed from the Evoque's front camera system, so you can always see exactly what's underneath you. So this new Evoque is certainly a Range Rover off-road, but what about on? Well, it comes up aces there too. The ride is comfortable, the cabin is quiet, and it's just a nice place to be. This really is just a Range Rover on a smaller scale. One of the few places the new Evoque deviates from its larger Range Rover brethren is when it comes to powertrains. This is four-wheel drive, obviously, but it is front-wheel drive base. And under hood, you won't find some kind of supercharged V8 engine. Instead, the Evoque uses a sensible four-cylinder turbo with an available mild hybrid system. And even though the new Evoque's gone green, you can get it with almost 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. So there it is, the all-new Range Rover Evoque. Proof that if it isn't broken, you shouldn't fix it. This new Evoque isn't radically different from its predecessor, and yet it's somehow much better. I think Land Rover did a really good job with this redesign, and I predict the Evoque will remain king of the urban jungle for the foreseeable future.